Radio is one of the oldest mass media in the world and remains one of the most popular medium even in today's internet world. Radio remains for many, especially in far-flung communities, the sole and most valued means of communication. On this edition of InfoHub Extended, Rebecca Ganesh tells us all about the first ever regional workshop held for broadcasters from the hinterland regions in Guyana.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
Recognizing the importance of communication to the development of the indigenous peoples of Guyana, on assuming office in 2015, the coalition government set out to establish radio stations in all the hinterland regions. The first ever regional radio workshop was held on March 30 and 31st at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Broadcasters from indigenous communities in Region 1, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and VOG in Region Number 4 all participated in this groundbreaking event. Earlier, as part of the agenda of the Regional Radio Workshop on March 29th, Prime Minister Moses NAGAMOOTOO hosted a welcome reception at his residence on Main Street for the regional broadcasters. The broadcasters were introduced to a number of government ministers and other officials.
Opening the workshop, Prime Minister Moses NAGAMOOTOO noted the historic nature of the event. Describing it as a revolution of radio broadcasting in Guyana, he pointed to the fact that for the first time in the history of national broadcasting, radio has been carried to the wider hinterland.
We have now brought to the attention of the world that there are 9 peoples who were formerly locked away in what they used to call the bush or the jungles, and that they could communicate to the rest of the world in their own languages. That's a revolution.
According to the Prime Minister, while the idea of community radio stations have been around for some time now, it was not undertaken until the coalition government took office in 2015.
So having radio is, for me, part of the revolution of communication. We had taken it for granted. And I go back to 1992, that it didn't happen then. There was always suspicion that you don't allow people to talk too much. You don't give them the capacity where they could influence each other. Always in Guyana, the impediment had been a political impediment. I found strong support from President David Granger. He's not afraid of the people. He's not afraid of extending the horizon of communication and knowledge and intelligence and information. I found full support from the President, who is always excited when he talks about the regional radios. And he said that you have to make sure that there is a regional radio, a state, a government, a public regional radio in every region. We have now in 5, but I'm sure in due course we'll have in all 10 regions.
The Prime Minister announced that talks have started with the National Communications Network, NCN, the Department of Public Information, DPI, and NSERD to add public information content through the Guyana Learning Channel television stations in 16 locations in the hinterland.
There's just this wonderful little handbook on broadcasting, what we call the Regional Radio Manual. To say thank you to some very important people who have been in this journey, directed by the Honourable Prime Minister and the President himself. The President is one of our biggest fans on Regional Radio Project. And he has, in fact, whenever the Prime Minister is not there, and even when the Prime Minister is there, the President comes along to some of the commissionings.
The more than 40 regional radio broadcasters were exposed to guidelines on how to manage their respective stations, how to provide quality programs, and sessions on the Guyana Constitution, the Amerindian Act, and defamation laws. Some of them spoke with the InfoHub team explaining why they entered the radio world.
Truth be told, I just love being part of everything that goes on in my community. And that's how I ended up at one of these meetings where they were having the initial talks about radio. So eventually I joined the training program, and I think it's one of the ways I can actually get to know what's going on. It's always good to know what's going on in order to either plan ahead or look back and learn from past mistakes. So I think it's a very good platform for me. Another reason I joined actually is because I love promoting my language and my culture. And I speak my Wapchan language. I can read it, I can write it. I'm very proud of it. And that would really, this platform, radio, would actually get me to share with others. And people connect with that because most of our listeners currently speak Wapichan.
I love being part of public forums that give young people the opportunity to speak out against social ills within our society. And so this gives me the perfect opportunity to be able to use Radio Oriala and the people who we live among. So we use each other, we learn from each other, and we share information so that all of us can help each other to develop ourselves, empower ourselves, and move away from certain norms that has kept us down and kept us being discriminated against. Broadcasting is so much fun because then you get to engage with the people in a way that's different. You're not seeing them, but you're imagining the people listening to you, and you have that power within you to educate and empower, and through that be able to bring about changes, positive changes within society. So I'm very excited to be part of it, and there is a lot of bright plans for the future for Radio Oriala. So I'm glad that I'm part of it, and I look forward to playing an integral part of charting a new course for the community through broadcasting.
Regional broadcasters, after their two-day workshop, are now more equipped to present to their respective communities useful and important information.
Coordinator of the Governance Office at the Office of the Prime Minister, Tamara educated the regional broadcasters on the Guyana Constitution and the Amerindian Act. She highlighted that the Constitution is the supreme law of Guyana.
The Constitution is known as the supreme law, which means it is the highest ranking law of the land. Now, the effect of that is that no other law should go against the Constitution. If there is a law that goes against the Constitution, that law is invalid or unconstitutional.
Khan further explained that the Constitution guarantees our most basic rights.
The Constitution protects the rights of the individuals, and it limits and organizes the powers of the government. That is the two main functions that the document strives to attain. Daddy!
Several of the broadcasters applauded the government's support for the development of regional radio stations across the country.
I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I have got, not just myself, but the team of Radio NAGAMOOTOO to be here to meet the radio broadcasters and radio coordinators for the regional radio stations. More so, I'm thankful that I have the Constitution and that I will be able to carry it back home to share with the listeners.
I want to say how happy I am to be part of this weekend where we have gained so many different training on particular issues, the constitutional reform, and this is a very important tool that we would use to share among our residents in my sub-region. And I want to say that it has been a wonderful privilege to be here, to gain so much knowledge that we can enhance our local broadcasting in our various districts.
Many communities are now connected through community radio stations in the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo Region Number 9 through the establishment of Radio Letem in May 2016, in Barima-Waini, Region Number 1, with the setting up of Radio Mabaruma in June 2016, Radio Madhya, Pataro Siparuni, Region Number 8, in October 2017. Radio Bartika in the Kayuni Majuruni area, Region Number 7, in November 2017. Radio Aishalton in Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo, Region 9, in February 2018. And Radio Oriala, East Berbice Quarantine District, Region Number 6, in March 2018.
The Office of the Prime Minister recently announced that Radio Essequibo in Region 2 is slated to be commissioned by the end of 2019, further demonstrating the government's commitment to connecting the hinterland to the coastland whilst improving people's lives and creating more opportunities for them. This has been InfoHub Extended. Thanks for watching. Do join us again. Goodbye.